Yes, hello. Yes, hello. It's Henry. I'm doing another video, doing an experiment, doing it in a different room. This used to be my bedroom, and for a while it was the bedroom of myself and my ex-fiance. And then a bit after she left and my other tenant left, I took the other bedroom, the green room that I've been shooting from. This is kind of the brown room. I don't know. It's a little less of an overbearing color than the green room, but it's also, it's pretty bland, but that's okay. Content is what matters, right? So I like the natural light coming through and such. I can't say I'm a great cinematographer or anything yet, but I have a good eye. I'm pretty okay with compositions from drawing and doing not storyboards really, but thumbnails, which are like storyboards or comic book panels a good bit. Um, Anyway, I'm here today. I think it's Wednesday, and it could be the 10th of November. I may or may not post this on the day that I'm recording this. I just wanted to say thank everybody for the positive reaction my last few videos have gotten, either through subscriptions or likes slash thumbs up, the Cooper sign, Dale Cooper, or comments. Uh, I don't get a lot of comments. I get a few more on Facebook when I link this than on the actual thing down here. I will try to start putting more links to pertinent things that I talk about down there. I'll probably go back and re-edit some of the older ones and add those. Um, but anyway, my last one that I did that was not a blue review, it was called Who I Am Now and What I Want, which is a quote from a very wise person I once knew. Um, but it applied totally. The more I talked during that video, I ended up saying it, and it was true. It was who I am now and what I want. So, and you can take that in varied contexts. Like who I am now is who I am now. That's pretty self-explanatory. What I want is what I want in life and creative in my creating and peace of mind and in a relationship. I don't know. It can mean various things and has meant various things. So um, it goes really personal and it bordered on the maybe overly philosophical, overly intimate, and overly political spheres more than once. So I thought it would put everybody off, but it actually has had the most views of any of my videos I've been doing in the last month. Um, so that was gratifying. Um, Maybe just talking straight, like a regular vlog, um, is more accessible to most people. I guess when I do it, I'm more calm, I'm more myself. Uh, I'm not, my brain isn't constantly thinking ahead to the next thing that I need to discuss or the next factoid I need to throw in there. I mean, that kind of comes to me naturally, but my brain is always moving ahead of my mouth. So sometimes I get uh, I just did it. Sometimes I get stymied, and hence the ums and uhs. I've been trying to filter them out as much as possible. Sometimes they emerge at uh, awkward moments. I think the ums and the uhs are what they show in my speaking, and maybe in anyone who does that quite a bit or staggers over their words, as I just did, is a lack of total command over what you're saying. I don't know if it's confidence or just, in my case, a lot of it is I'm making this up as I go. This is all just coming out of here and sometimes out of here. That's, well, the heart area, and or maybe it's a chakra. Um, and I'm trying to just convey ideas, either information, as in the Blue Review videos, or information and some insight and background, as in the Flickr Street videos. Um, the next Flickr Street video I'm going to do, I'm hoping, will be a reading of some of my esoteric background to some of the more cosmic horror kind of stuff that I covered in a previous installment. I don't even remember which installment, to be honest. And probably no one watching does either, and I don't blame you guys one bit. Um, but in the case of something like who I am now, it's really uh, it's really just how I'm feeling. I can't really say it has a theme. You know, it certainly themes manifest the more I speak, but I can't say there's one that I go into the video going, I want to talk about this. There were some important things that I knew I wanted to discuss, such as social media and uh, my former relationship and Flickr Street, of course. Um, you know, a bunch of incidental things came up through those things, and I touched on how every interconnected things were and are in my life and in this whole like tapestry of life or whatever, the circle of life, Hakuna Matata. Uh, just kidding. The Lion King stole from Kimba. Let's just be frank about it, and not pretend otherwise. Um, so I enjoy being able to have a forum or a platform to speak. I know many times my words, my written words or typed words on Facebook are taken grossly out of context. Sometimes my sarcasm is completely lost. A lot of times when I'm very serious, people think I'm joking, and vice versa. A lot of times that is deliberate on my part. That's part of my mischievous personality, not persona necessarily, though it creeps into my persona if I have a persona. But it's definitely the imp of the perverse is definitely always there, kind of scheming to throw people off and knock things off kilter in a conversation or in a topic. Um, but I can get grim and serious in a heartbeat. So, I tend to move between modes, and sometimes uh, an audience can keep up with me. That's an audience of one or an audience of many. Sometimes they can keep up with me, sometimes they can't. Sometimes I don't know if I can keep up with them, or give them what they want or need to be communicated to about. And there's a lot of adverbs. So, basically, I'm trying to also eschew words like basically and essentially because they're also a stop and gather your thoughts kind of thing, like a you're putting off the viewer just long enough for you to collect your thoughts. When you're doing this off the cuff and totally spontaneously, it's all but avoidable, and it's all unavoidable really to do that. Some, I think perhaps I do it too much, and perhaps that will be less of a tick of mine as I go forward. Um, what are some things that I'm wanting to talk about? Well, I'm looking forward to doing more videos. I have uh, the Flickr Street one I mentioned, but I'm also looking forward to two blue reviews that I have already outlined in my head and a little bit on paper put aside. Not what I'm going to say, but what I'm going to include. Um, and depending on when certain shipments get to me of things I ordered way long ago and can't afford now, I will be uh, putting them up in that order. Whatever order they come and whatever order from there I feel the most motivated to talk about or spontaneous on that particular given day. I may receive something today. I don't know, and who knows? That could mean a video late tonight. I seem to be hitting the 4 a.m., 5 a.m. mark as far as being inspired, and other times too. But obviously, I don't have as beautiful light as I do now. It's 2 a.m. I'm sorry, it's 2 p.m. here. Um, so, no matter where you are in the world, uh, depending on where you are in the world, the time will be a different time. But I'm on the East Coast, so of the United States of North America. Um, so I'd like to be able to use this forum to talk a little more freely about things. Sometimes there are things that I do bring up on Facebook, and they become very contentious very quickly because I kind of tend to, when I'm writing and typing something to someone in communication, back and forth, or making a statement to a group or whatever, I tend to be really blunt sometimes and to the point. If I think something is horrific, and I don't mean like a critical judgment of that issue of that comic book was horrific or that episode of that show was horrific. I mean more like things that are happening in reality that impact our lives. If I find it horrific, I'm just going to fucking say it's horrific. I'm not going to mince words with, well, but then there's and this, and you got to remember this, and so and so. Nah, we're way past too late for all this equivocation and prevarication. We need to get down to what's going to become of the human race. What is going to become of us? What's going to become of people who live in America who are not in the 1% and who aren't blessed by the oligarchs? Um, those terms are what more and more people are thinking in, and more and more people need to be thinking then, though we've gotten knocked far off course, it seems, with the election from this. So it's time to go back and foment a genuine populism, a genuine set of values that can help those who need help the most and can elevate us so that we don't spend our entire lives just working with nothing a benefit on a spiritual or a creative level or cerebral level to show for it. It even destroys our interpersonal relationships, and it takes our time, it steals our health, and we need a system where our people can be happy. There's enough money. Uh, so it's not that. It's never been about that. And this is the kind of thing I'll say, sorry, that's just the way it is. You may disagree with me, but you're not going to deter me from certain core facts, certain things that are empirical, as in our lives are evidence of them, the lives of millions of people. So I'm trying to be as vague as possible while also conveying sharply, some of my beliefs about how politics is failing the world, has failed the world. Um, some people who follow my Facebook know more specifically what I think, and a lot of them are simpatico with me. A lot of them are simply tolerant of me, and some are highly critical. And then there's the really out there people that just immediately block me, unfriendly me, sometimes taking the time to, you know, verbally chastise me and denigrate me before they do so. Sometimes they do it in private messages, uh, and sometimes if they're blocked, they even find creative ways, such as tapping into my Flickr Street page to let me know, you know, what a horrible person I was to suggest a system that would help more people and to maybe support leaders that are really there to help the most people possible and not to enrich the oligarchy. Um, these are things that anger people, they enrage people because they're not voting for their own interests; they're voting against them. And They don't really know who's representing them, what they're representing. Uh, they don't know the records of people. They don't know policies. Um, and sadly, a huge chunk of them do not give a fuck. And that's not just, to paraphrase Peter from Dawn of the Dead, it's not just your life you're messing with, soldier, it's mine. And that's the fact, is that these people are not only just, screwing themselves uh, by lending support to this machine that's grinding us all down, but um, they're destroying us too. So, in any case, um, those are some thoughts, some things that enter my mind. I was very passionate about progressive politics. As I mentioned, perhaps in the Who I Am Now video, I've taken several steps back from it. I still belong to a few groups, and I on Facebook, and I listen, and sometimes I do interject or comment, and I feel like I can be my true self then, as far as what my true ideological beliefs are. Um, but it's a minefield otherwise, and it's becoming a more dangerous minefield, between the fact that people have drank the Kool-Aid pretty thoroughly now, and the fact that these organizations such as Facebook are intent on censoring certain ideas and language that they feel is triggering. And when I say language, you know, I don't mean, fuck and damn or even the N word, though that is a trigger word, and I understand why. But should cracker be a trigger word? There's no, on some levels they're supportive of Nazi speech, on other levels they're hyper reactive to liberal speech. So, um, the robots run everything. Who programmed these robots? Are they Puritan robots? They sure seem like it, because they're repulsed by the female human nipple. It sends them into a frenzy, and this kind of stuff is just juvenile and stupid. It has no place in an organized mass, corporate owned uh, forum for millions of human beings to communicate honestly. It's petty, it's schoolyard shit. It has nothing. It is nothing. Facebook jail is something that should just be blown apart. It's not real, it's a construct, it's a mental construct, but it should be destroyed. Um, Censorship is never, ever the answer to anything. That's just what I firmly believe, and I believe that completely. And I think there are things that are horrible in the world that need to be stopped, that don't need to be promoted. I'm not exactly a big fan of Nazism or pedophilia. I think they're repulsive and should be destroyed. But I also feel like they're ideologies and ideas and thoughts that are worthy of consideration, not necessarily from those two topics, because I know I don't listen to them. And when I have in the past, all I found is evil and stupidity to an alarmingly high level. Just, if you've ever tried to talk to a Klansman, I live in the South, and I have had the opportunity to do so about 30 years ago, and I've met a couple of people since then who are kind of borderline Klansmen, including, unfortunately, my paternal first cousin. I didn't know this about him until I was an adult. He's a good bit older than me, but yeah, you speak to these people, and they are the stereotypes. They're not together. They're not intelligent people. They're not articulate. They're not reasoning people. Um, they want to call minorities and people of other ethnic groups and religions subhuman, when they're about as subhuman as you can get from the Caucasoid race. I mean, they make us look really, really fucking bad to the majority of the world that is not of this race that I belong to. I am very small part Native American, more than Elizabeth Warren, I will say, but I am mostly Caucasian, mostly German. And of course, I personally have no problem with people using the term honky cracker or making German stereotypes that have to do with Nazis because, I mean, Germany became Nazis. Most of the people probably didn't want to be Nazis. That's understood. But a lot of people did, and a lot of people were just following orders. And oh well, we're just following orders. We're just annihilating a few races over here. It's no big deal. But it is a big deal, and I tend to stay off of these extreme kind of topics on Facebook. These specific kind of topics because they're so virulent and so loaded, and people are so intensely reactionary that it's almost impossible, to try to engage. I lose interest immediately in engaging them. Sometimes with friends of mine, I don't. I just turn off. I'll say something really blunt or that being construed as caustic, and then I move on, and then let them do what they're gonna do. Curse me out, block me, unfriend me, you know, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. So I really am less and less on my Facebook news feed, and as a consequence, I'm less and less involved in the progressive groups I am in. The ones I am still in, that I did not quit as the election devolved into what it became, the primaries, I should say, and into the election. Um, I went ahead and stayed in those groups, and I'm happy to be in them. And I have some of those people as friends outside of those groups, and they're very lucid, intelligent people, uh, very intelligent people. They know the score. Like I don't know if you remember Pop Will Eat Itself, but band Cliff Mansell was in it. He scored most of Darren Aronofsky's movies. Now I'm going into Blue Review territory, but Clint Mansell is also on Facebook. He's a great electronic musician and composer. But when he was in this band Pop Will Eat Itself, they did a song, and I've forgotten the name of it right at the moment, but it had a line in it, Alan Moore knows the score. Um, and I was referring to the fact that this at that time really popular, where is still very well regarded and respected and famous comic book writer, but that at that time very popular, mainstream popular. Uh, he had some insights, and he did, and art is always my refuge. You know, that's always my solace. If I were to have a religion, just art would be my religion, and that includes visual art and literature, poetry, film, comic books, uh, anything that falls under that general rubric of art, expression. You could throw in things that I'm not as involved with, but am aware of, like theater and dance. And I was going to say sculpting, but sculpting is to me part of visual art, and I do have done some of that, and I do know people who have done incredible sculptures of that same nature. I have one I'd like to show you sometime that was gifted to me that means a tremendous amount to me, and I would like to show the world and not just hoard it in my. I have the only copy, and not just hoard it in my garage, so to speak. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up. It's been a while. You got used to the new room. Hopefully, I'll be in here a few more times. Uh, to my right, these guys that are in the window and on the floor beneath the window, and there's a few in the corner that you can't see. This entire corner is the JSA corner. That's the Justice Society of America, oldest superhero team there is in printed literature, and in some ways still the very greatest. And I went on a mission when I inherited some money from my father a few years ago. And I tried to get at least one figure um, of every active member that had ever been in the Justice Society of America. and I succeeded. I'm missing about 3 or 4 possibly that I could get, but that's going to be a bear to get back around to. I did upgrade Power Girl about a year and a half ago. So now I have 2 of them, but one that I'm proud to put in the main lineup. This up here is like the main lineup. And these are like the small figurines. Uh, there's their PVC set. There's so many incredible things. So yes, I am a big collector, and I'm not going to sell these. However, there's a wall of figures over here, and the vast majority of them I am going to sell, are already put up for sale. Um, I'm weeding out everything I can of everything. So please follow my eBay store. I've been posting about it on Facebook every day. I'll give you the link when I can remember it. I'll say it. I can't quite remember the right page to get to the link, the URL, but um, yeah, I need money. So, I'm divesting myself of some incredible stuff. Hundreds of items. I've already sold hundreds of items, but I've got hundreds of items still on there. DVDs and the Blu-rays and books and comic books and magazines and toys, um, works of art. That covers most of the bases, I think, of what I'm selling. Um, who knows what other kind of odds and ends, knickknacks I might throw in there, but basically, I have raided my house. I still have an enormous amount of things to go through. I'd say I still have just as many hundreds of things to appraise and quantify, at least as I do already on there right now, which is like over 300. So I probably have at least 500 more items to add to my page, possibly more. It just depends on how quickly I can put them up, and it takes time. I had a spike last month in between having my hand problems with carpal tunnel, and I managed to upload 100 items in like 4 days. I've never been able to do that before, and I have not been able to do that since. So I've gone a little easier on myself, and to be honest, sales are a bit down right now. They were quite good around April, May, June, July. August, they started slacking a little, not much. September, slacking quite a bit. And October was not so great. November so far is very moribund. Um, and I think a lot of it has to do with the economy. Disposable income for things that could be seen as frivolous, like collectibles. I mean, after all, am I not selling most of mine? Well, yeah, but I was selling most of mine even before COVID hit, and even before the economy went really into the abyss as it is now for millions of us. Um, so I still have a day job, but this was my full-time second job, and it's become more of a part-time second job because I don't spend as many hours on it as I used to because I don't get as many orders. But I do try to spend a lot of time in corresponding with questions my uh, buyers, my customers have, leaving them feedback, preparing orders that are going to come out, go out within the next few days. I do all of it by myself. I mean, I address the envelopes, I seal the envelopes, you name it, and other time is spent on marking down items that are already up there and uploading new items. Um, and then the rest is kind of a waiting game. So, that's where I'm having to fill the void. And now that my health is improving somewhat because August and September were shaky, uh, my physical health and mental health, my physical health mainly because of my hands. Um, a few other things were dogging me, but that was by far the worst. My mental health, some of the things I alluded to in this who I am now video, and in this one, um, things that have weighed on me and kept me from being as productive as possible. But I still write on Flickr Street every single day, and I don't think the quality of my plots or my verbiage has suffered. In some ways, it's just improving. So thank God that channel is still open to me, or gods, or whatever deities, what have you. Um, thank the universe. So I thank the universe for all of you, and I love all you guys, and I appreciate everything. And I'll be in touch. Take care.